Bodine 52, how are you folks? Out and about with Mrs. Bodine, and we stopped at a car dealership today, or a truck dealership. And I was thinking, while I was getting frustrated sitting there, why did it feel so much different when I bought a motorcycle? It is a beautiful day in Pennsylvania. I am back doing some visiting with my beautiful bride on the back. Say hello.
Oh.
So, the topic today is, well, first of all, if you follow my channel, you know I'm moving. Probably sick and tired of hearing about that, but I am moving to Michigan. And with my old job, one of the perks of that was I got a really nice F-150 truck as a company truck with a gas card, which was even nicer. Well, when I decided to, I should say, right, Mrs. Bodine?
Yeah.
Decided I was going to take a role in Michigan to move back to family, that how I don't get a company vehicle. It's handled just a little bit differently, which is irrelevant, but it means that I need to go buy another vehicle. So, as I was sitting there in the car dealership, I should say truck dealership, I'm a truck guy today, and we test rode a truck. Mrs. Bodine was out with us because we had a showing at our house. She was out with me, I should say, not us. And we rode this truck, which we really liked, right?
Yeah.
It was a Dodge Ram. And I've had a Dodge Ram for a small period of time before, and I kind of like them, right? So, you know how it is if you ever go into a dealership. And this video is not about should you buy a new car, should you pay cash for it if you could afford it. I can't. Should you lease it? It's not what this is about. It's about feelings and how I felt, right? So, I'm at see, you guys are better. I don't have to pay for a shrink because I vlog. Isn't that great, Mrs. Bodine?
Yes,
I can just talk it out with folks. So that's what we're doing. We should call this vlog Shrink Time with Bodine 52. Because you don't need a shrink, it's just me. But, so as I'm sitting there and this guy is kind of working up the numbers, and I'm comparing multiple trucks. I've always been a Ford guy. I was thinking, when I went to buy a motorcycle, it was a different experience. Because when I got to go and ride the motorcycle, now I rode this truck, or drove this truck, but when I was buying a bike, it was all exciting and stuff, right? It was just different. I probably did the same amount of research. I went to multiple dealerships, worked the pricing, worked what I want on the bike, rode them, it compared service, all the stuff that normally you would think. And, service may not be important because you may work on your own motorcycle, but, all the things that are important, Is the price right? Do they have the right bike? Do you like the people at the dealership? Because if you, and that's, no matter what kind of bike you ride, I think Harley, Davidson, which I ride, they're genius marketing people, right? So, they try to become your friend, and I believe most of it's genuine, but you can go into any dealership and it's like, a relative you haven't seen for 30 years when they greet you. It's like, oh my God, I love you, how you been, blah, blah, blah. So, until you tell them you have a new bike, by the way, and then they're not spending as much time with you as usual. But I'm at this place, and I'm sitting there going, it was so much fun riding a bike. So I'm actually like, dude, look, I'm comparing a couple other vehicles. I really like this Dodge Ram. I'm going to buy this or an F-150. I think I told him a Chevy too, right? I may buy a Chevy, which, nah, probably not. But, and he's, he's a young kid, pretty good guy. See, I liked him. He kind of got that I was one of those guys that's like, let's just get after it, right? I like this truck, this stuff. What's the number, right? What's the best number you can do? And then my brother-in-law works for, or used to work for Ford. He's retired now, so I get some special pricing from Ford and just kind of comparing vehicles. Some brothers out. Hey, guys. By the way, did you see the apes on that last guy? He had apes up here, folks.
Oh, God.
It's a little hard. I'm going to give him a break. The first 3 guys waved. The last guy gave us the head nod because he had like 16-inch apes. How is it possible? It's harder to do that with the big apes, I'm thinking. But, you know, this guy was pretty smart, realizing that I just wanted to cut to the chase, and you know, he asked me, "Oh, are you going to buy it today? If we get a great deal?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not going to buy it today, but I'm going to buy it the next 2 or 3 weeks, right?" And you know, those dealers are always pretty good at, you know, just give them time to think about it. And it's funny though, Mrs. Bodie, and you and I talked about this, and I think it's the same with people that sell motorcycles as it is cars or trucks. I worked for a company that actually had a salesperson that used to be a car salesman. Believe me, I inherited that guy. He was a waste. But one of the things he always said to me, because I was trying to buy a vehicle at the time, I was talking to him about my, quote, negotiation tactics. And he said to me, he goes, "Bodine 52?" And this was like 20 years ago, before Bodine even came about. I mean, he saw into the future that I was going to call Bodine 52. So he says, "How often do you buy a car?" I said, "Well, me, unfortunately, I buy one every 2 or 3 years." And he says, "So you negotiate a deal every 3 years, let's say." I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "I negotiate 30 a day. Do you really think you're going to be better than I am?" I was like, huh. But regardless, we got the number. I actually like that truck. I remember you and I, Mrs. Bodine, doing a video on guys don't care about color.
Right, but I guess you do. Told you.
You were right again. So, that is my story. And I guess my question is, have you, bought a motorcycle at a dealership, and did you find it was it was okay for the whole dealership experience, or buying it from, I guess, an individual, right, whether it's new or used, and how did that compare if you ever bought a new vehicle, because it just didn't feel right? What do you think, Mrs. Bodine? Whoa!
Yeah.
That would be roadkill that I just drove.
Was it?
That I just drove.
Oh.
Big Mama over. Wow. Yeah, must be, you know, at the end of the day, you kind of like, you know, we talk about safety all the time. Probably following this guy a little close. So he drove over that, and I saw it was a pretty big, it wasn't a squirrel. What do they call those things? What do we have?
Like a car.
What's that?
Felt like a moose we ran over.
It was not a moose, but a groundhog. And it kind of came up quickly. So, especially with you on the back, the first thing that goes through your mind is swerve, right? Because we all know that safety technique. And that's what I wanted to do. But then that quick reaction happens, as people know on motorcycles, and can happen in a couple seconds, that you're on the back. And instead, I just decided to take it straight. You know, it's probably the length of my windshield. So we got a little bump there, and Mrs. Bodine was playing a little grabby on me right then. So, but it just shows that, you know, even when you're vlogging and stuff, we got to make sure that we're given enough space in between vehicles. And, you know, while I felt I was far enough back from him, if I was really far enough back, I would have been able to move around that. So we started to talk about motorcycles and car purchases. Are they the same? And we realized we got to make sure that we're not following people too close and always be safe, right?
Right.
Lessons learned. Glad everything was okay. All right, folks, that is it for us. Mrs. Bodine, anything you would like to share with everybody?
Thanks for watching. Take care.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely appreciate you guys always coming along with us. Be safe on and off the motorcycle. And 2 words of wisdom for Mr. Bodine today. Number 1 is, make sure you check the tire pressure in your motorcycle, because I just did that today after being away for a couple weeks. And don't follow too close and be like me. Thanks, folks. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.